All right, so we're going to be talking about meter today, and not all poems have to rhyme, but if you do choose to use rhyming in your poem, you'll notice that it should have a rhythm or a meter. And in this, some syllables are stressed or emphasized, and some are unstressed, and usually they follow a pattern. Reading the meter and trying to figure out the pattern is called scansion. So the first thing you have to do is figure out how many syllables are they, and are these syllables accented or unaccented, stressed or unstressed. So take your name and think about how many syllables are in your name. If it's one syllable, it's pretty easy. So Ty, Luke, James, you've got this pretty easy. However, if you have more than one syllable, you'll notice that you say one syllable a little bit louder than the others. Keegan, Ava, Corbin. They all have two syllables in their names. Keegan, Ava, Corbin. And you'll notice with all of them, we say the first syllable just a little bit louder. We say Keegan, not Keegan. Ava, not Ava. Corbin, we pronounce that a little bit stronger. So think too about some with more than two. Shamara, we have three syllables there, and we emphasize the second one. Or Madison, if you stop and think about it, there are three syllables there. Madison. We don't say medicine or medicine, it's Madison. So we pronounce that one a little bit louder. Or Juliana, Juliana. So we have four syllables there. Do we say Juliana, 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 Juliana? So we pronounce it emphasizing the third syllable. So once you've figured out how many syllables there are and whether or not they're stressed or unstressed, then you start looking for that pattern, and that's when we start talking about scansion. So let's take a look at these poems, and you'll notice that limericks have a certain beat to them, and they have a certain pattern too that they have to follow. In these, you'll notice that lines 1, 2, and 5 rhyme, and they have three beats, three accented syllables. And lines 3 and 4 have two beats or two accented syllables. So it should sound like this. And you can kind of nod along almost with it. There once was a man from Peru who dreamed he was eating his shoe. He woke with a fright in the middle of the night to find that his dream had come true. Now, at the end of all of this, I'm going to be asking you a few questions. You might want to take some notes. We've answered the first four at this point. Meter refers to the rhythm of a poem. Scansion is when you're reading the poem and you're trying to figure out the pattern of beats. You're trying to figure out the meter. Another word for an accented syllable is a stressed syllable. And we know that that first limerick, Man from Peru, did have the right meter, the right rhythm for limerick. But now we're going to read Forgetful Gas Man and Limerick Stuffer. So let's take a look at those two poems. A forgetful old gas man named Dieter, who went poking around his gas heater, touched a leak with his light, he blew out of sight, and as everyone who knows anything about poetry can tell you, he also ruined the meter. Yeah, that doesn't work. And Limerick Stuffer, this guy does the same thing. There once was a poet named Dan, whose poetry just would not scan. When pointed out why, he said with a sigh, I know because I try to fit every last syllable on the last line that I can. So that really didn't work either. So it's important that we have the right meter, that we have the right rhythm to our poems. Otherwise, the rhyming isn't accented and you're not able to really appreciate it as much as you would if you have that rhythm for your reader. So if you are in band or you're in choir or you understand music, you might know a little bit about 3/4 timing. And in 3/4 timing, you have three notes, three beats per measure. And the first one is usually a little bit more accented. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to hear that in just a second. Whereas with 4/4 timing, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you don't have that first one accented in the same way. So I want you to listen. I love the Swedish Chef from the Muppets, so that's what we're going to be listening to. But listen to the background music, and you'll hear kind of like an oompa, ba, 1, 2, 3. And that's that accented syllable there in the background.